very good evening, Zimbabwe. Welcome to LiveTalk. We're coming to you live from Studio 7 at the Voice of America in Washington this Friday, December the 2nd, 2022. I'm your host, Marvelous Mhlanga-Nyahuye. Tonight... Tonight on Live Talk, we are looking at the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Doha, Qatar, and how the 5 African teams which qualified are performing so far. Senegal was the first African team to progress to the group of 16 and will play England this Sunday, while Morocco followed suit and booked a place in the group of 16 after beating Canada 2-1 yesterday. Morocco will play Spain Tuesday in the group of 16. Ghana today was booted out of the competition after losing to bitter rivals Uruguay. The rivalry follows a controversial 2010 FIFA World Cup loss to Uruguay, which stopped the West Africans from becoming the first African nation to make it past the quarterfinals. Ghana crashed out of that World Cup after striker Luis Suarez controversially handballed on the goal line deep into extra time and denied the Black Stars of an almost certain winning goal. But ironically today, both teams crashed out. Cameroon is playing Brazil later tonight. Nasi turikutarisa zvirikuitika kumakwikwi FIFA World Cup ari kutambwa kuDoha, Qatar. Africa ine zvikwata zvishanu zvinoti Ghana, Cameroon, Senegal, Tunisia neMorocco. Senegal yakakwanisa kuve chikwata chemuAfrica chekutanga kupinda muround of 16 umo chichatamba neEngland nemusi wesvondo. Morocco yakakwanisawo kupinda mugroup of 16 nezuro yakave chikwata chechipiri kupinda mugungano iri. Morocco iri kutarisirwa kutamba neSpain nemusi wechipiri. Nhasi chikwata cheGhana chabuda mumakwikwi aya mushure mekukundwa neUruguay. Uruguay yabudawo zvakare mumakwikwi aya. Cameroon iri kutarisirwa kutamba neBrazil manheru ano. Tunisia neGhana dzatobuda mumakwikwi aya. Ndo zvikwata zvekuAfrica zvatiri kuona matambiro azviri kuita. While friends from around the world revel at the Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup, hundreds of children in the war-torn region of Idlib, Syria, compete in the Camps World Cup, a football tournament featuring players who are growing up in displaced camps or as child laborers. Moneb Taim reports from Idlib, Syria, with Heather Medoc in Istanbul.
After months of training, these Syrian children are competing in what they are calling the Camps World Cup, a football tournament mirroring the games in Qatar. Some players come from industrial areas, where young children work difficult and dangerous jobs. But most come from the displacement camps, where half the roughly 4 million people in the Idlib region of Syria live.
The war has impacted everything. We have become trapped inside these camps, and it's not possible to get out.
Organizers hope the Games will bring international attention to the war and humanitarian crisis still going on in Idlib, one of the only parts of Syria still at war with the government of Bashar al-Assad.
We are hoping there will be a solution for the families of these children so they can return to the homes they were displaced from.
Parents say children growing up in the isolated camps in Idlib are suffering physical and psychological damage from war and abject poverty. They say the football tournament doesn't fix the problems, but it does alleviate some of the pain.
If there was no war, my children would have better mental health. Because of the war and the bombing, they're always afraid and cannot concentrate.
The children in the tournament are organized into teams, named after the national teams playing in Qatar now. Some children say the training and the competition helps them envision a future without war.
I have a dream, when the war ends, to participate in World Cup matches in Europe and Asia with the Syrian national football team.
But for families in northwest Syria, winter is coming on rapidly. And the United Nations says rising prices, climate change, and dwindling international aid are making winters harsher and more deadly every year. Families say after the Camps World Cup, dreams will once again have to wait while they are busy trying to survive. For Monib Taim in Idlib, Syria, Heather Murdoch, VOA News.
Our reporter Godfrey Mutimba in Mashingo speaks to a soccer fan, Runga Moyo, on his views on how African teams are performing at the World Cup and his personal favorites. Let's hear what he had to say.
Africa munatoti hadzisi kukwanisa kutora mukombe. Regati vakabudira kuenda mberi apo kupedza zvinatsokuita zvakanaka zvakamira sei ndiko sofa panomaona tisikuita zvinatomira zvakanaka kuzanenge vari kuri.
That there was VOA reporter Godfrey Mutimba speaking to a soccer fan, Runga Moyo in Mashingo, giving his personal favorites and speaking about how Africa is performing at the World Cup. Let's take a short break. Please don't go away. We'll be right back with you. For those that have just joined us, please note that we are streaming this discussion live on our Facebook pages, VOA Shona, VOA Studio 7, and VOA Ndebele. We're also live on YouTube, VOA Zimbabwe. You can also find us on our websites, www.voandebele.com, www.voashona.com, and www.voazimbabwe.com. Send us your messages right now on all our social media platforms and we'll be able to read them out so we can hear your view. Now for perspective, we are joined by one of our analysts. We have analyst Tandizani Zimbra, who is in Zimbabwe. Hello, Mkoma Tandazani. Aiwata Square. Let's just dive right in. We just witnessed their Ghana playing their bitter rival Uruguay, and we saw Ghana struggling. But then, even if Uruguay won, what is next now? What does it mean?
Well, it means that unfortunately we have to take our bags and go back home as far as Group H is concerned, where Africa was represented by Ghana. What is more painful is that there was an opportunity for us to make up for what happened in South Africa when Ghana, who had the continent's chances to progress for the first time ever to the semi-finals of the World Cup, when in the last minute of their quarter-final match against Uruguay, Joanna missed a penalty. So today we played against Uruguay again, and Ghana failed to make up for what happened in South Africa, losing by 2-1. But what is even more painful is that they had a penalty and they failed. So the final scoreline was 2-0. They failed to put away that penalty. So it looks like, as far as penalties are concerned, Ghana and Uruguay, it seems every time we get penalties, we develop cold feet. It's quite disappointing looking at that Tunisia also going back home. So our hopes now lie on Cameroon, so that at least we have Senegal who are in the last 16, as well as Morocco, who did very well and won yesterday by 2-1 when they beat Canada. And if Cameroon makes it through, then at least we are still alive with 3 teams in the last round of 16. And hopes will be very bright that it may be represented in the round of 8 in the quarterfinals.
If you can just tell us the same thing in Isindebele, what are the chances when we look at the way African teams are playing? We've seen right now we have 2 countries that have gone to the group of 16, but we saw Ghana struggling today to beat bitter rivals Uruguay, like what you were explaining. Can you explain in Ndebele what the way forward is now?
Masikhangela indlela esidlale ngayo ungathi akukatshintshi kakhulu. Ungakhangela umncintiswano we-World Cup eminyakeni edluleyo, amaqembu e-Afrika aqala kuhle, kodwa ukuthi nxa sekusiya ekucineni yikho lapho abakhulelwa khona. Sikhangele iSenegal lapho eyadlala khona le-Netherlands, kwaba nguthiki lobhanqa kwaze kwafika ngiyabona 80 minutes kulokhu kuyi-0-0, kodwa basebegcina bekhulelwa kwaba yi-2-0, bagcina bekhulelwa 2-0, kuyikuthi badlale kuhle for 80 minutes. Esinengi sisuka kumbe ikudinwa kumbe ikuswela ukuyala silokhu cabanga ukuthi singanqoba ekucineni, siqine sitshaya uvalo ekucineni, siqine sesinqotshwa. Kodwa kulethemba lokubana njengoba kule umncintiswano sokulamaqembu amabili asefike kusigaba se-round of 16. Ngasikhangele iCameroon nayo izadlala neBrazil, nxa inganqoba iBrazil okwanamhlanje kusho ukuthi silamaqembu amathathu afika ku-round of 16. Kunawo maqembu amathathu mhlawumbe singaba nemsanta, siqine njalo siqhubekela phambili kuyangena kuma-quarter finals, bese kusiba lelinye iqembu elingaphumelela liye kuma-semi-finals. Kodwa okudanisileyo kakhulu yikubana iGhana yona esizakhumbula ukuthi umncintiswano we-World Cup owadlalelwa eSouth Africa yakhitshwa kuma-quarter finals yi-Uruguay. Namhlanje bekulithuba lokuthi baphindisele lokhu abakwenziwayo. Sizakhumbula ukuthi kwathi imidlalo isiyaphela uSuarez wabamba ipenalty, abe-Afrika beGhana baphiwa ipenalty ukubana benganqoba uma leyo penalty ingahlohlwa, kodwa waSamoa Gyan wesile ukusosa i-Afrika yasisile ukuphumela ukuthi iye kuma-semi-final. Namhlanje njalo abafana beGhana baphiwe lelo thuba le-penalty, kodwa besileka ukusosa, bagcina sebenqotshwe 2-0. Kuyadanisa kakhulu lokho ukuthi okwakhathesi umdlalo we-Cameroon neBrazil ungakadlalwa sise lamaqembu amabili asephenduke ekhaya, lelo yiTunisia njalo amaqembu amabili asephumelela ezawakhangelela ukuthi mhlawumbe iwasethwele ithemba le-Afrika, iMorocco leSenegal. iTunisia iphindela leGhana seziphindele ekhaya. iCameroon inganqoba namhlanje kuBrazil ukusho ukuthi siza kuba lamaqembu amathathu. Ithemba likhona ngoba iBrazil isiphumelele, mhlawumbe bazasebenzisa abadlali babo laba abanye abangaqalisanga ukuqalisa, njalo yona iCameroon njengoba ikwazi ukuthi namhlanje akula okunye okufunekayo ngaphandle kokunqoba, ukuthi bazangena leli zabuzana. Mhlawumbe ngenxa njalo ukuthi yona iBrazil iyakwazi ukuthi lanxa ingazinqotshe akunamsebenzi ngoba sebephumelela. Mhlawumbe khonapho inkokulithuba lokuthi amaqembu e-Afrika, iCameroon iyehlangana njalo leSenegal, ihlangane leMorocco, zimelele i-Afrika zizintathu siqhubekela phambili ngomncintiswano we-World Cup.
Tombo wotarisa icho chikwata cheCameroon chiri kutarisirwa kutamba neBrazil mumutambo uchauya munguva inotevera. Vazhinji vakamirira kuona, munoona zvichizofamba sei tichiona matambiro aita Ghana nhasi, sei tichiona zvikwata zvekuAfrica zviri kuzoneta taakusvika kumagumo emitambo iyi?
Cameroon ndeimwe zvikwata zvanga zvakatarisirwa kuti pamwe chichatungamira zvimwe zvikwata zvese kumutambo weWorld Cup, asi tikatarisa nzira yavazotamba nayo zvanga zvisingafadzi. Pamwe kune zvanga zvichiitika muchikwata ichi zvatisingaoni, nekuti kana tatarisa kutamba kwavanga vachiita hakuna kuzofadza sekutarisira kwatanga takaita. Asi kwanhasi pavanotamba neBrazil vanoziva kuti hapana zvimwe zvinodikanwa panze pekuti vakunde. Vakasakunda vakudzokera kumusha. Uye chimwe chingabatsira ndechekuti chikwata chavari kutamba nacho cheBrazil chatobudirira, chinoziva kuti chiri kuendera mberi mumitambo yeworld cup. Saka pamwe vachazorodza vamwe vatambi vavo, tinoziva vane vatambi vanokosha vakaita sana Neymar, vane vatambi vakaita sana Casemiro, pamwe vangangozorodzwa nhasi nokuti vanenge vachichengeterwa mitambo iri kuuya kuti vasaneta kana kuti vasakuvara. Saka ipapo ndo pangapa muCameroon mukana wekuti igone kutamba nesimba ikunde chikwata cheBrazil. Ikangokunda nhasi tinenge tava nomukana wekuti veAfrica vane zvikwata zvitatu zvinomirira Africa tichienda kuround of 16.
And just looking at the team that have qualified so far, they are now, scheduled to play in the round of 16. What do you think are their chances as they progress when we look at Senegal and also we look at Morocco, which just qualified yesterday?
I think it's all about focus. It's all about concentration. It's all about belief. When you think that a team like Japan can beat Germany, a team like Japan can defeat Spain, then if you believe, because you are all at the World Cup, it means that there is some substance in you. It's all about the 90 minutes. It's all about the tactics. So when, first of all, Senegal approach their game with England, it will all be about belief. More so, we must remember that they have players who are in the English league, and they know very well their opponents. They know what to do. So as long as they believe, strength in character, as long as they overcome that nerve which usually affects African teams when they are at this stage in the World Cup, I don't see them failing to beat England. So it will all be a matter of belief, a matter of character. When it comes to Morocco, when you look at the way they went about their business, especially yesterday, you can tell that they are a team that is well-drilled. They are a team that is belief. And even their tactics, they went pound for pound. They did not respect that they are playing an opponent from a different continent, but they gave all that they had got. And
please hold on. It is now time to hear from our callers and stakeholders. Who are our stakeholders of this show? And I understand that we have a caller all the way from Botswana. Hello, caller Makadi. Aiwa takasimba taurai tinzwe tiri kutaura nemi muri kupi?
Botswana.
Ehe, kwakadi kuBotswana uko?
Botswana kuri right chabo.
Ehe, munoitwani?
Surprise taderera.
Nguvataderera. Saka muri kuona sei zviri kuitika munhabvu ku World Cup uko? Imi muri kusapota chikwata chipi? Ndiani wamunofunga kuti achatora mukombe?
Brazil ndio inokwanisa kutora, but kuti game racho rakachinjiwa, game Africa dziri kutambo zvikushamisa singai.
Okay, saka muri kuti imi taura yenyu.
Ona ndichiti Morocco matambiro acho this time iri hoti chaiko kuti inogona kupindawo kumberi, kana ichibuda inobudira kumberi ikoko.
Wo muri kuti imi makatarisa pane Morocco apo kana makatarisa kuAfrica?
PaMorocco apo ayo inogona kuti tirawo zviri nani muAfrica, inogona kuti mirirawo muAfrica iyoyo.
Ehe, saka dai manga murimi muri kutarisawo kuti pari kutadzwa ndepapa, makatarisa kuzvikwata zviri kubva kuAfrica, mungati ndepapi? Chii chamungava yambiro? Tinotarisa kuti Cameroon iri kuenda unotamba munguva inotevera iyo inoi.
Ndoona kuvakomana vegoisa kunde kunenge kuri kunonyatsotimire zvakanaka kuva kuti vanotya here kunyatsotamba nokumberi koko handisinyatsoona zvakanaka io.
Aiwa, pakanaka chaizvo. Tinokutendai kumataderera meno kana muine mamwe mazwi amungada kutaura.
Ndingoti dzemuAfrica Morocco ndikuti dai yangoramba yakadaro tingakwanisa kumirirwa zvakanaka.
Ko paCameroon apa?
Cameroon hatiiti Morocco zvayo Cameroon iri kudyiwa zvayo.
Aiwa, tikadaro tiri kunzwa zvakare kuti pane zviri kuitika pane vanhu vari kuenda vachinobheja kudaro. Zviri kuitikawo here kuBotswana kuti vazhinji vari kurasikirwa nemari nenyaya yatiri kuona kuti kuri kuitika maupsets akawanda kuKatar uko? Kuti nyaya yebetting iriko here kuBotswana kwamuri uko?
Iriko vanhu munoona kuti ndandikutaura kuti matimu vamwe angatarisirwa kunyanya vanga vachiti vanhu vanokwanisa kuenda mberi ari kuluza zvingaita saka nekubheja ikokoko vanhu vanga vari kudyiwa mari vari kusepuraizwa zvisingaiti nematimu avanga vasingatarisire.
Okay, zviriko ikoko kuBotswana nokuti ndiri kunzwa vekuZimbabwe nekuSouth Africa ndo vanga vachinyanyochema chema.
Zviriko zvakanyanya vanhu vari kudyiwa mari dzavo.
Imi makambobheja here mukoma?
Ya, ndinobheja dzinowina Brazil.
Aiwa, pakanaka mukoma. Ndinoshuvira kuti chikwata chenyu chibude zvakanaka muve nezuva rakanaka. Thank you so much. We're hearing there from our caller from Botswana, who's called Taderera. He's saying that he is putting his money on Brazil. That's what he says. But let's go back to our sports analyst Tandazani Zimbabwe in Zimbabwe. Koma Tandazani manzwa zviri kutaurwa nebva kutifonera pari zvino, our caller from Botswana. Mungati chii nyaya yebetting iriko here, muri kuiona sei munyika pari zvino?
Nyaya yebetting iripo uye yakanganisa mutambo wenhabvu zvekuti vanotungamira mutambo vakasasunga dzisimbe ingakanganisa kufarirwa kunoitwa mutambo uyu. Asi nazvo tinoona kuti inzira yekuti vanhu vazvifadze nayo, saka kuti inyatsovharwa hazvigoni. Asi vanenge vanotungamira mutambo wenhabvu vanofanirwa kuti vaone kuti vatambi neavo vanokocha nyangwe ivo vanotungamira havatenderwi, paiswe mutemo wekuti ukangoonekwa chete uchiita zvebetting hauchatenderwi zvekutamba kana kutungamira kana kukocha. Saka zviripo asi ngakuiswe mutemo wakasimba.
Very strong word there. Maybe if you can say the same thing in Isindebele when about the question of betting and what your thoughts are.
Into yokubheja ebhorini ikhona sibili njalo kule thuba lokuthi umdlalo wenguqu ungagcina usuphambaniseka nxa kungabe kwanga izinqumo zokubana uvikelwe kubugebengu babantu laba ababheja umdlalo wenguqu, ikakhulu nxa sikhangela ukuthi abadlali noma abaqeqeshi noma bona abakhokhela ezomdlalo wenguqu kumele kufakwe imithetho eqinileyo ukwenzela ukuthi bangavunyelwa ungabanjwa ungumdlali wenguqu kumbe ungumkhokheli noma umqeqeshi kufaka umthetho oqinileyo ozenza ukuthi ungaphindi uvunyelwe ukwenzela ukuthi abanye besabe. Nxa lokhu kungenziwanga ngibona ngathi kuzaphambanisa umdlalo wenguqu, abantu begcine bengaselathemba lokubana impumela yemidlalo iliqiniso na, ngoba mhlawumbe kwesinye isikhathi abadlali babe bebhejile sebesekele ukunqoba kumbe bekele banqotshwe ngoba besazi ukuthi lanxa benqotshiwe kodwa bazathola imvuzo eminingi ngoba babe bebhejile.
Thank you so much. Please stay on the line and I will go to our Facebook platforms while we're waiting for our correspondent all the way from Ghana to tell us what the mood is like in Ghana at the moment following the Ghanaian team crashing out today. And Rukona Pana Pulani John Arkuti Raise of Africa, good afternoon. Richard Moyo Varkuti pa England versus Senegal apo. Senegal inokwanisa kurova England ndo maonero avo. Josephine Matemera arikuti zvebhora makwikwi. So Josephine is saying anything can happen. Ari pa Facebook page yedu ye VOA Shona regaitishayedza zvakare kuenda ku VOA Ndebele tione kuti ikoko vanhu vari kuti chii. Tinokuti wanikwai muchinyora pfungwa dzenyu uyezve vanoda kufonerwa wanikwai muchititaurira kuitira kuti tikufonerei. Pane vanga vatoisa namba dzavo tiri kuedza kukufonerai mukanzwa nhare dzedu dzichirira ibvai madaira. Regai tidzokere zvakare Tandazani, going back to what is the future for African teams?
You will realize that part of the strength of European teams is African players. When you look at the holders, France, almost the entire squad is made up of players that came from Africa. The other weakness that we have as African teams is that whenever we hear of players playing in Europe, we don't even take time to examine just how good they are, whether they qualify, because Africa has immense talent. There are players who can play so well from Africa. But whenever there are these big tournaments, African teams tend to rush and select players that are attached abroad automatically, and that has had an impact. Yes, there are players that have been playing at the top level, and you can never ignore. Examples are like Edward Mendy, who has played in the Champions League. You have players, the African players, there are African players who play for top teams in Europe. Yes, those we can use, but there are some obscure names that surely do not even perform better than locally based players, yet they get automatic selection. This has tended to affect African teams, and up and until we have a policy to reward performance more than reputation, then it will affect us as African teams. The other issue
endai henyu nemushona kuti pogadziriswa sei ipapapo. Another thing yataona zviri kuitika, pane mamwe matimu aita aya tingati ma-upsets, tombobva zvedu kuafrica mombotibatisa kuti ndezvipi zvikwata zvabva zvashamisa chaizvo paworld cup apa zvazvisingafumukidzirwe kunzi zvingaburitswe.
inindotenda tikatarisa matambiro aita Japan.
Okay, Mukoma Tandazani, bata yenyu, so we can take a live caller. I understand we have a live caller with us. Regaitende kwavari. Hello, caller Makadi. I wanted wadi triptora nani muri kupi? Kwakadii kuZimbabwe uko taurai tinzwe muri kuona here nhabvu dzekukata kuDoha uko?
Tirikuona nhabvu uye zvikwata zvataifungidzira kuti zvingange zvinge zvichibuda mumakwikwi, tirikuona zvichingobuda. Potopindawo zvimwe zvitsva zvasingatarisiwe kuti zvingaende kuround of 16.
Saka imi pane zviri kuitika izvi ndezvipi zvikwata zvakufadzai?
Chikwata chanifadza ndicho cheSenegal. Mona chinoramba chichingosara kuround of 16. Zvakare nechikwata chekuEngland.
Okay.
Chikwata chakatamba chaitamba zvinofadza, uchiona kuti vaiziva kuti vakarongera mutambo uyu.
Asi ndechipi chikwata chamunofunga kuti chichatora mukombe?
Ipapa chikwata ndinofunga kuti England inenge yaane nguva, yaane nyota nekunge ichitorawo mukombe, saka inogona kuzosangana iyo neFrance mufinal. England yotorawo mukombe neri yaane nguva isina kumbotora.
Aiwa, tinokutendai chaizvo, muve nezuva rakanaka kwamuri ikoko. Tandazani, if you can just come in and give us in 30 seconds your last word as we move forward in this World Cup.
It's a World Cup of shocks, and as I was saying, Japan has been the biggest shocker of this World Cup. Germany, Spain, whoever believed that that Japan could get the better. But also with an African team, Morocco beating Belgium. Whoever believed that Morocco could beat Belgium. So it has been a World Cup of shocks, and we should expect even more shocks as we progress towards the final. But it will remain the same. The big guns will win it.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we have no extra time, so I'd like to say thank you to our guests, Tandazani Zimbra, there in Zimbabwe, and to all those that were live streaming with us. I'm Marvelous Mshanganyahuye in Washington, saying have a very good night and a very great weekend. And don't forget to watch the World Cup.